Welcome back to the Express Steakhouse. Say, you look familiar. Aren't you the bloke from last time? Hey, come on in, come on in. We have reserved a table just for you. And look at that. The fork, knife, and spoon are all laid out ready for you. What would you like to order today? Well, in my previous video with this deck, one of my viewers asked a question. What do I consider the best and worst matchups for this cutlery-based Ken deck? And I answered any kind of red spells trouble. Yes, Jinteki is the mortal enemy of criminals, and today we are facing up against one in the form of RP Glacier. So let's see how well we do, or how badly we do for that matter. So, Jinteki is bad because you really don't want to take net damage, and you are forced to play a Mimic or a Fairy before you can even begin running. And of course, RP Glacier makes this worse because security testing and all the run events are disabled. You cannot get a free archives testing, which is my only source of economy. So that's why I keep this opening hand, because it has some economy, some card draw in the form of Earthrise, but most importantly, it has Fairy. With Fairy, I can actually start face checking ice, and you'll see me do this very soon. But first turn, I need to set up my security testing. Now, second turn, let's get going. I draw a card, I find a Mimic, so I play that instead of Fairy, and I make a run. On Archives, expecting a pup, but I end up seeing a Komainu. What I want to do here is force him to rest the ice so that I know what I'm up against. Komainu only cost me 3 credits, thankfully. This is something you need to go do against RP to reduce the amount of punishment that you take from face checking Komainus. You want to keep your hand size as low as possible and hope that they are not playing some janky flatline variant. So with a low hand size, it only cost me 3 to break the Komainu, and I get 2 back from security testing. It's still a net loss, but at least the Komainu's rest. And that's the other problem with my deck. I much rather have Parasites against Jinteki RP than Fork Knife Spoon, because all the problematic eyes are low strength. And he shows me a pop-up window, another eyes that I would love to have a Parasite for. But pop-up window is actually a blessing in disguise. Why is this so? Because it enables Account Siphon. In fact, it enhances Account Siphon if he's low on credits. And Account Siphon is definitely going to be a key card this matchup, because RPs generally don't pack any tag punishments. So I don't have to clear tags after a Siphon if I'm quite sure I don't need security testing anymore. That's a big if. And secondly, I need to get my Earthrise Hotel draw. The reason why I haven't played it yet is because I want to make sure I want to get as many security testing runs off of Archives as possible. Once I start drawing with Earthrise, my hand size will fill up and it will become too expensive to make security testing runs. This is why I'm playing with so few cards in hand, and I'm not playing my Earthrise until I need more options. So I finally decide to play Earthrise. I would play my Breach here and then make a free security testing run with a 0 subroutine Komainu, but I couldn't afford to take the tempo hit to install Breach. And anyway, in this matchup, barrier breakers are not very important. They aren't running any barriers aside from Wall of Thorns, which I'd rather have a Corona for, because it can deal with Wall of Thorns on the remote as well. So, Breach goes in the trash, it takes the net damage from Komainu, and I get 2 credits from Sec Testing. As well as a Data Sucker token, which is not very relevant in this matchup either. Should I have installed a Data Sucker on turn 1? Maybe not. So Earthrise draws me into a fantastic combo, Desperado Dirty Laundry. So even though I started my turn with 4 credits, at the end of this turn, I find myself with 8 credits. So a minor misplay there. The Dirty Laundry run on the Komainu I made should have been done with 0 cards in hand. I should have installed the same old thing first before Dirty Laundry. I did it the other way around, which cost me 1 extra credit to break Komainu with Mimic. Small misplay, but every credit counts against Jinteki RP, which is so incredibly taxing. Now, I'm really hoping I draw into my cutlery here, especially Forked, because I need to destroy the Komainu. That would set his tempo back very heavily and would allow me to freely security test. Now, he has given me 1 more hand size with the Mental Health Clinic. I'm going to let that run. Firstly, because it's protected by an ice, and secondly, because, well, I do not want to spend all my time and effort trashing it, only to have him install a Sundew in the new remote. That is undesirable. I'll contest the Sundews, but not the MHC. So, my first click draw into a legwork. I couldn't resist the temptation. I did a legwork run to his hand. If I hit a snare, so be it. Game over. So I see a Toll Booth, an ELP, and a Caprice Nisei. So from this point, I know he's running your standard RP Glacier, Hell RP, might I add, with Enhanced Logging Protocol and all the Niseis in the world to ensure that runs don't happen. I hate RP, and I'm going to beat this one to the ground. Hopefully, it's a bad matchup. We'll see what I can do. My final Earthrise Hotel takes, and it gives me the worst cards you can imagine. Look at my hand. There are 2 John Masnoris. I do not want to insult a single John Masnori this game. Tech floating is one thing. The biggest problem is I'm not going to make successful runs, not with so much ice on all 3 centrals, which has successfully double iced up. So John Masnori is not going to be good, and I don't need double sec testing either, because they don't stack. This is looking horrible. I face plant into a Tsurugi, which is very undesirable to break. I cannot afford to run R&D like that. This is really awful. 5 credits to break, and a counter from Cerberus. That's not good. So yeah, I need to access more than 1 card to make R&D runs worth it. And all I have for R&D digging is R&D interface, so that's definitely a flaw in my deck. The next Earthrise draws me into Dirty Laundry and the second copy of Rex. Well, that's okay, but I can't really play Dirty Laundry. I only have 1 credit. Not enough to break ice, and if I stumble into a barrier, that ends my run. So yeah, this is not good. So I security tested HQ because that seemed to be the most vulnerable server, and he actually allowed me to get through. So I do get my security testing off. That's 2 credits and 1 sucker token for me. And for him, that's 1 free credit from the pop-up window. Then as I said, I promised to contest the Sundew, and I did, but I was stopped short by Himitsumako. Nothing I can do about that. Even the breach that I had earlier wouldn't have allowed me through. It's on the remote. Now I do draw into my Corroder, that's good news. And I also draw into my second copy of Legwork. This is quite a tempting time to play Legwork, but I need few more credits first. He hasn't been installing any Jacksons or agendas recently, so you have to figure that there are a couple of agendas clumped up in his hand. So right now I'm telling him that I need to do some calculations. I have seen his Toll Booth, so I was expecting this. I knew that I could get through, and the calculations I was making was to ensure that I would make the successful run with 4 credits left. This entailed spending a dog token on pop-up window. With the Desperado credit, I now have 4 credits, enough to steal an NAPD. But all I see is Caprice Nisei and Jackson Howard, along with interns. So of course I spend my 4 credits to trash all of them. I do not want him to get Jackson off, because that allows him to reshuffle all his agendas back. Or to reshuffle the Caprice that I just spent so much effort discarding. So Jackson definitely goes into the heap. Unfortunately, it didn't really matter because he has interns in his hand. I should have realized that. I think I should have let him just get the Jackson off. So a minor misplay there, because every credit for my part really counts. I need those credits for breaking ice. Can't be trashing all his assets. So here, this is what I do. I bounce off HQ successfully, costing me 2 clicks, just so that I can get a Dirty Laundry run on his least most vulnerable server, the Mental Health Clinic. He had very few credits, so I assumed he couldn't res anything too big. It was a pup, and it did cost me quite a bit of money to get through, and 1 net damage, but well, at least that brings me up to 8 credits, which is a decent amount to threaten anything. Now here, he makes the biggest mistake he can ever make. His Celebrity Gifts, 5 cards, 2 of which are very juicy agendas, Nisei Mark II and the Future Perfect. So this sets off alarm bells in my head immediately. Get into HQ this turn. And worse still, he does not ice up HQ. Instead, he places his 1 ice, the Wall of Thorns, on the remote. So I definitely know that's a Wall of Thorns on the Mental Health Clinic remote. And secondly, I have full access to HQ. He doesn't realize this. Toll Booth is deceptively tanky. It's not when you have a loaded laser sucker. It only cost me 4 credits to get through. So I same old legwork. Note that the same old thing was on the table. So that was definitely a huge misplay on his part. He knew that I had the tools to get to HQ, but still showed me all the agendas and left me to pick 3 out of 4 of them. The Ash, and we play a side game for Future Perfect, which I won, and I steal the Nisei Mark II. Boom. There we go. I now have 5 points. I'm up 5-0. That was a huge mistake. And this puts me at match point. This is so crucial. Stealing that Future Perfect, you have no idea how big that is. It means that all I need is one other agenda, any agenda, to win the game. So now, because I've cleared his hand of agendas, and because I've cleared his hand of agendas, I can afford to play a bit slower, set up my board state, and go for and build up to a point where I can actually contest his remote. I can contest his remote. I have a Corroder ready to go, but I'm actually looking to get more money. That's the main issue right now, and I finally draw into my Plan Assault. Money is quite important because I did see the Ash in his hand. I chose not to trash it. He will be definitely looking to install that on the remote. After which, I cannot contest his server because he's way richer than me. I've let him got his Sun Deal off. His Sun Deal has been ticking for many, many turns. I wasn't able to contest it. It's paying off big time for him right now. I need to find a solution. Either that or go for R&D, which is not very good right now because, I don't have any R&D digging tools. I haven't seen any yet. It's the one copy of R&D interface in my 45 card deck. Surprise, surprise. Of course, I'm not seeing it. So, I take my click to draw, and I find exactly what I need. A code game breaker for central servers. Passport. Alright, so now, the only thing missing right now is money. Once I have money, I can contest all his servers. With Passport, Corroder, and Mimic, with a couple of sucker tokens. I go ahead, install the John Masnori. Why did I do this? I have no idea. Oh, now I know why. I wanted to make a security testing run and use up my ferry. The ferry sitting there on the table with not doing much, so I might as well try for security testing. But it failed, blew up in my face because Lotus failed. And not only that, because I just installed John Masnori, gave me the tag that he needed to trash my security testing. Bleh. Well, at least I have another sec testing in hand, not too bad. But the main issue now is that he is about to score a Nisei Mark II in that remote. I need to contest it. So here, I basically only have one option. There's definitely no way I'm getting in that server twice. Since there's an Ash guarding it. I have to hope that it's not a Nisei, and thankfully, it was just an NAPD. So no harm done. He just gets 2 more agenda points, but his board state is not advanced. If anything, I now have a bigger advantage because now it's actually possible to siphon him down and win the Ash trace. Plan Assault can bring me the siphon that I need. So that's definitely a move that I'm planning to make soon. And even more so now that he's played his Enhanced Login Protocol, which means that I need all the run events. So I draw more cards, hoping to see my siphon. Haven't found it yet, but I do find the same old thing. So now I can tutor any run event from my heap or my stack, given what is in my group right now. The Show Gamble also brings me up to a nice credit level, and now I've baited him into installing Future Perfect in that remote. It's time for me to go for it. I have to contest this one. I can't let him get match point. So here, I'm first going to siphon him. This should change the credit difference into my favor so that running the remote is easier. I intended to do this with same old thing, but I quickly realized that that wasn't possible because I haven't seen a single one of my 3 account siphons, even though there are 3 copies of them. They are all in the bottom 15 cards of my deck. So I'm forced to use Plan Assault for that instead, which means I can't use the Plan Assault for Fork, Knife, or Spoon, which I really wanted to. This whole game, I've been wishing I had a fork to deal with the Komainu on Archives. I've never found one. That would have been huge, but they are all stuck at the bottom of my deck. All 3 cutlery. So, back to the game. Plan Assault, account siphon on HQ, with 2 clicks left, and an ELP. I initially wanted to bribe his remote, and then I realized if I bribe him such that he cannot rest any of his eyes, he will still beat me with the Ash trace. So there's no point in bribing him. So I'm just going to make a normal run. And even with a normal run, I'm not going to make it. to his agenda, because all he needs to do is rest Ash and pump the trace beyond what I can beat. So that is awful. That really is awful. He reses his Komainu here, and I'm forced to use my fairy. Now this changes things. He res a Komainu, so now he actually has less credits than me. This is a huge mistake on his part. He had no clicks. I have no clicks left. He can just res the Ash and keep me out. But now he relies on the side game, and thankfully for him, he won the side game. So yeah, this allows him to score the future perfect. So things are looking worse right now. Even though I had a good start, it all means nothing when now he's on 5 points and he has his remote server nicely set up. The only good thing is that this is a window that I can capitalize on where he has few credits, but it's mostly relevant when most of his ice is already resed. I drop and finally find one of my cutlery, the most useless one, the knife. There are no barriers that I need to break, except for the Bako that's protecting the worthless Sundew. At this point, it doesn't even matter anymore. I play the second copy of security testing. I have no idea why. Hopefully it's to slow him down, I guess. If anything, it's slowing me down. I'm not going to get any security testing runs off anytime soon. Not with such protected servers. I also joined to a Spoon, which is actually pretty useful. Spoon can break both Lotus Field and Toll Booth, which are guarding Archives and HQ respectively. I'm definitely looking to crush that Toll Booth to make HQ very porous. There are lots of run events that rely on HQ getting into HQ, especially Account Siphon. That's something I'm definitely looking to do. So with my 12 credits, I think that's what I'm going to do. Spoon his Toll Booth. And you notice that I'm not going to take any punishment from Enhanced Protocol here because I'm running so many run events that ELP is virtually irrelevant. So first I break the Toll Booth. Then, since I've already done destroyed the Toll Booth, I might as well continue all the way through. Hopefully there's an agenda in his hand that he just drew, but could not pump out into the remote. Let's see a Celebrity Gift, not very useful, but that John Masnori draws me into R&D interface. But R&D is not a very desirable target right now. So instead, I make a regular run on a Bako. This is a huge mistake. Because it's a regular run, I'm forced to spend 2 clicks. So for 2 clicks, I'm getting 3 credits. No, 2 credits because I spent 1 credit to break the Bako. So essentially, I might as well just have clicked for credits. So that was a very silly move. I should have knifed the Bako, which would expose the Sundew, allow me to security test that server thereafter, 3D security test it, and yeah, that would not have cost me an extra click. So that was a huge mistake on my part, but it doesn't matter now because he's threatening game with the final agenda. So here, there's only one possible move I can make. I mean, I could try for R&D. That is definitely possible. But the first thing I need is money, so the Siphon was definitely going to happen. And at this point, with 1 click left, I'm either going to attack R&D or the remote. I chose the remote. And I used Bribery. Because I knew that was a Wall of Thorns there, I bribed him for 1 credit. Yeah, I know that that's a Wall of Thorns, if you remember earlier. So this is Bribery coming in, preventing him from raising the Wall of Thorns. But turns out it didn't even make a difference. He would not have raised the Wall of Thorns even if it wasn't a Bribery run, because it would cost him 8 to raise, which means that he cannot use Ash thereafter, or pump the Caprice for that matter. I mean, play the Caprice side game for that matter. So Bribery was useless. In fact, my inside job would actually have been better here. I would have been able to bypass the Komainu. So this is definitely a good example of why Bribery is much more inferior to inside job. I'm definitely looking to swap Bribery out. It wasn't very useful this game. Even the one time where I thought I could use it, it was worthless because if I used it, he would have just rested the Ash and kept me out the server. So, yeah, I failed the side game. He bet 2, I bet 1, and with no more clicks left, he scores the final initiate for the win. I asked him what was the ice on R&D. He shows me the Tsurugi. I could have gotten into R&D. I think my chances of getting an agenda there could have been better. Tough to say, it really is. I don't really know his agenda density in R&D, but it's probably very low. And yeah, I might have needed a side game anyway if I hit a future perfect. So, that game was unfortunate for me in many, many ways. Not so much a side game, surprisingly, even though that's a very annoying aspect of RP. This game, it worked out average for both of us. We played 3 side games and I won one of them, which is perfectly average, stealing the future perfect, which was very important for me. The real problem was consistency. I wasn't able to find any of my cutlery. Ice denial is incredibly important against RP, especially so because I'm playing a deck that is 100% reliant on making runs to get credits. I was very starved of money this game, and it definitely showed. So yeah, the one thing I'm definitely going to change after this game is swapping out the bribery for a second copy of Clan Assault to smoothen out consistency. I'll also need to think hard about how to improve the quality of my R&D excesses because I really wasn't punishing his R&D hard enough. So once again, thanks for your patronage at the Express Steakhouse. Please do leave a generous tip as we are not doing very well financially.